What is going on, my St. Louis City fam? First, I gotta say happy Friday. We made it. I'm your girl Kelly, here to give you the rundown on what happened in St. Louis City government this weekend. I'm about to get right to it with these highlights. So first and foremost, y'all know what it is. We are in the midst, in the thick of redistricting season. Yes, y'all. So there were a couple of legislation committee meetings held this week. In those meetings, there was quite a bit of commentary and thoughts provided by the alder people. One of the things that was mentioned was that the first drafted map, which was provided and the public weighed in on, was an attempt to keep the neighborhoods together. The alder folks also mentioned that they appreciated the feedback from residents and that they used that feedback to make tweaks to that rough draft of the map. And then as a result, there have been additional drafted maps created since that first one that was provided last week, I think it was. So the most updated map, it should be, which was posted yesterday, I believe. It is up on the City of St. Louis website. And I will say, a huge plus and something that I personally appreciated that was done by the Board of Aldermen was the map is a lot more interactive and, in my opinion, a lot more useful. I mean, you can zoom in to look at different like boundary lines, and you can look at like the street level. You can zoom into the street level if you want. So I will say personally, that's appreciated. I really like that. The alder people also expressed frustration with some of the misinformation being put out there regarding this redistricting process by the Board of Aldermen. For instance, I know there have been people saying that the committee, the legislation committee, was only using the population of voting age people, so folks that are 18 and over, to create these maps, ultimately disenfranchising younger Black St. Louis city residents. And President Lewis Reed walked through the numbers using one of these like drafted wards, on the map, showing that all residents, so those that are 18 and up as well as those that are 18 and younger, were included in those numbers that were used to, calculate the population to determine kind of these wards. Also, the alder folks mentioned that they will continue to tweak the map, incorporating additional feedback from the community and making sure that it adheres to federal requirements, which is important to note. So there are 2 additional opportunities for the community to weigh in via Zoom on the most updated version of the map. Like I mentioned, it was posted yesterday. So these opportunities, so the first is actually tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And then the second one will be held on Monday, the 15th at 6 p.m. Like I said, both via Zoom. So I'll be sure to provide the link where you can view the map, as well as the public hearing details for folks to really check it out and sign up to participate if they want to provide their comments verbally to the Board of Aldermen. The second highlight I have for you from the HUD's committee meeting. So HUD's stands for Housing, Urban Development, and Zoning. So yes, y'all, aka redevelopment. So, it includes bills around redevelopment. Not all, but quite a few. So in the meeting this week, one of the bills discussed was Board Bill 113, introduced by Alderwoman Davis. And the bill, if passed, it authorizes the issuance of industrial revenue bonds not to exceed $60 million for the steel coat Gratiot, and again, I might be butchering that name, LLC project. And this project, it consists of the development of 196 apartments and 65,000 square feet of retail. This is the target project, y'all, near SLU, as well as 355 parking spaces. So, I know in addition, so the bonds, again, not to exceed $60 million. I know also in this project, the developer is seeking sales and use tax exemption on construction materials used on the project. Something else important to know about this piece of legislation, Those bonds are payable from lease revenues paid by the developer and not any city tax revenues. Also, the developer will be required to maintain 10% of the project as workforce housing. So 10% of those 196 apartments, like I said, will be maintained as workforce housing, affordable to families making 80% or less of the area median income. Um, so my math, you're looking at maybe folks making roughly 35,000 a year, um, give or take. So this board bill, it was passed out of committee with a due pass recommendation and is headed to the full board of aldermen for final passage. And then the next highlight that I wanted to mention, yes, this week's the Parks and Environmental Matters Committee, they met where they discussed the responsibilities of park rangers and the possibility of incorporating the marshals in assisting the park rangers with monitoring the goings on in city parks. So Public Health Director ICYMI, he was present and he was able to give his 2 cents and really his insight, his thoughts, his opinions, etc. Specifically around increasing the enforcement authority of park rangers. So I think I mentioned this last week in the rundown, but right now park rangers, if they're, monitoring a park or whatever, they see somebody do something they ain't supposed to do, the only thing they can do is write a ticket, issue a ticket to those people, but they don't have any other enforcement authority beyond that. So Public Health Director ICYMI, again, he said that he's open to exploring offering post-training to the park rangers, and POST stands for Peace Officer Standards Training. So this is the regulatory program that issues licensing for officers in the state of Missouri. So he said, yeah, I'm definitely open to that because this would give the park rangers more of that enforcement authority to really make sure that our parks are as safe as they can be. However, Public Health Director ICYMI mentioned that the charter would have to be revisited because as it currently stands, there can only be one arresting authority in the city of St. Louis, and that's 50, that's the police department. So he said, I'm open to exploring that as an option, but the city of St. Louis charter would have to be revisited. Some things would have to be tweaked in there in order to allow that to happen. But he says he's open to exploring it as an option, so in the conversation, so after Public Director ICYMI spoke, there was also words provided, thoughts provided, insight provided from the park rangers. So Lieutenant Amy Staton, she provided her 2 cents as well. And she said, look, it's 190 city parks, 7 rec centers, and 24 park rangers to monitor all that. So let me rewind that so the people can hear this in the back. We have 109 city parks and 7 recreational cities operated and maintained by the city of St. Louis. And to monitor the parks and the recreational centers in the city of St. Louis, there are currently 24 park rangers. So why do we only have 24 park rangers to do all of this? What was the reason? Yep, y'all, you guessed it. Pay, coin, dinero, dead presidents. People ain't getting paid enough. Point blank, period. Also, so someone from the marshals was present to provide his 2 cents insight, whatever thoughts on the matter. This gentleman, Sergeant Valentine, and he mentioned he has 20 total staff. And again, why? Well, why only 20 staff? And he echoed similar sentiments expressed by Lieutenant Staton. It's the pay. He said, I quote, you get what you pay for. And he literally broke it down to the committee and was like $15 an hour. And he said, his staff, they, folks sometimes get cussed out, going off on, when they're in City Hall at their posts. Ain't nobody, $15 an hour for that. hell no, ain't nobody checking for that. So, again, I really sound like a broken record when I'm speaking to why various departments within the city of St. Louis ain't staffed. Yeah. So next steps, these discussions definitely will continue to figure out how to increase enforcement authority and staffing to ensure, again, we have access to safer parks as well as recreational facilities. So I'll be sure to keep you posted on the additional conversations to come. And then lastly, we're rounding it out with the legislative corner, y'all. So there was only one board bill that was passed this week by the full board of aldermen, and that is board bill number 93, sponsored by Alderwoman Davis. And this rezones the area where the new development project with the Target, near SLU will be. And this rezoning, it will allow for both the residential and commercial development that is needed for completion of the project. So that's all I have for y'all this week. Please have a great weekend. Be safe out there. You'll see me soon. Peace.